which teams would I not want to see in the playoffs? And that's where you brought up the Fever. Pace of play trumps physicality, it trumps size, it can trump experience.
This season, that's not happening now. They are the two hottest teams in the W. Minnesota, 7-1 since the break. Indiana, 7-1 since the break. Something's got to give.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into what Caitlin Clark and Lexie Hull just did in the Indiana Fever's loss to the Minnesota Lynx, and why that performance, despite the L, makes the Fever a serious problem in the playoffs. Buckle up, because we're about to break it all down. Frustration, brilliance, and why the Fever are no longer the team to sleep on. All right, let's get into it. Yes, the Fever lost to the Lynx, but here's why this loss is semi-encouraging and kind of terrifying for the rest of the WNBA. The Lynx, with their length, defense, and physicality, are basically the Fever's kryptonite. They're like the final boss in a video game, long, athletic, and willing to muck things up. This team's style just frustrates the heck out of Indiana's fast-paced offense. Yet, despite all that, Caitlin Clark and the crew were still right there in it until the final minutes. It's like when you're playing Mario Kart, and that blue shell hits you at the worst time, but you still manage to make it back to second place. Yeah, that was the Fever on this night. The Fever came out of the gate swinging in this game. 18 seconds in, Lexie Hull with the floater to get the first points on the board. And let me tell you, if you blinked, you probably missed that smooth move. It's like ordering your coffee and they've already got it ready before you even pay. Hull wasn't wasting any time. Did she just hit the Amazon Prime button? Same-day delivery? But seriously, it wasn't just about Hull, though she was out there playing like a one-woman wrecking crew. You know who else was cooking? Caitlin Clark, of course. The Lynx tried to double her up, and what did she do? Oh, just casually dished a dime to Aaliyah Boston like she's the Steve Nash of the WNBA. And you already know Boston finished that with ease. But it wasn't just assists. Clark had ice in her veins, folks. She started draining deep threes like they were warm-up shots. Picture this. Lynx thought they had her locked up, and she hits a step-back triple from the parking lot. It's like, how do you even defend that? Spoiler, you don't. You just pray she misses. So, what went down? Let's start with Caitlin Clark, because this rookie continues to defy the haters and drop performances that have everyone's jaws on the floor. Even when the game got chippy, like when she sarcastically clapped at the refs, Clark kept coming at Minnesota. She was dropping mid-range floaters, step-back threes, and showed us why her game is tailor-made for these gritty playoff-type matchups. Clark finished with 5 3-pointers in the game. Let that sink in. Now, as good as the Fever looked early, Minnesota is no joke. The Lynx are long, athletic, and they know how to muck up fast-paced teams like Indiana. It's like playing chess against someone who's 3 steps ahead. They might not move fast, but they're always in position to stop your best plays. And when Minnesota's physicality came into play, you could feel the frustration building up for the Fever. And there were no answers from the bench. And this 3-pointer right here, she drilled it, then fired up the crowd like Michael Jordan after a monster dunk. You love to see it. But let's be real. Caitlin wasn't just hitting threes for fun. Her deep shot has started to fall consistently since the Olympic break, and now she's going to be putting up 25, 30, even 35 points regularly. When you have to guard her from half court just to contain her, that's a huge problem. It's like trying to guard Steph Curry, except she's a rookie. You gotta check her as soon as she crosses the timeline, or it's curtains. But it wasn't just Clark making waves. Let's talk about Lexie Hull for a second. Hull had herself a game, and her impact goes way beyond the stat sheet. This is a player who embodies the word hustle. Early on, she attacked a closeout and made a play off the bounce. This is the kind of growth that turns role players into game changers. And defensively, Hull is a straight-up problem. She's a dog. She is the Hounds of Hull. She picked up her 4th foul late in the 4th, and the Fever defense just fell apart when she had to sit. And oh, Caitlin wasn't having it with the refs. You know when someone gives that sarcastic golf clap? Yeah, Clark hit them with that real quick after finally getting a foul call, and I'm here for it. It's like when you're at work and someone finally notices you've been carrying the team all along. About time. I'm telling you folks, when Lexie Hull isn't on the court, it's like removing the engine from a sports car. Things slow down and the defense struggles. Without Hull's energy, the Lynx capitalized and sealed the deal with plays like this crossover right here. Cooked Katie Lou Samuelson, who just couldn't keep up. The Fever defense got exposed without Hull, proving she's a critical piece in this team's playoff success. The Fever needed her hustle more than ever, especially with the Lynx bringing that physicality. And she delivered. Hull was diving for loose balls, rebounding, hands in the faces, making key stops, and straight up bullying anyone who tried to drive to the basket. That defensive hustle? Absolutely crucial. It's like she had a "not on my watch" sign taped to her jersey. The moment Hull picked up her fourth with 5 minutes and 51 seconds remaining in the fourth and had to sit down, you could see things start to fall apart for the Fever. Minnesota pounced. It's like pulling the Jenga piece that brings the whole tower crashing down. Without Lexie's defensive hustle, the Fever's D got wobbly fast. Now I know some people will say, well, Kelsey Mitchell didn't have her best game, and that's true. Mitchell finished with 23 points, 4 3-pointers, and took some tough contested long twos that didn't quite land. But here's the thing. Even on an off night, she still managed to hit big shots that kept the Fever in striking distance. That's what makes this team scary. They can have off games and still make it a one-point contest in the final minutes. Look at this. After a Kelsey Mitchell three, the Fever were down by just 1 point with 4 minutes left. Despite everything, the frustration with the refs, Clark's mock applause moment, and Lexie Hull sitting out due to foul trouble, Indiana was still right there fighting for the win. That's not a team to underestimate. Now let's get back to why this game is actually good news for Indiana. They've already clinched a playoff spot, and this loss to the Lynx, arguably their worst matchup, proves that they can hang with anyone. If they can keep it this close against one of the best defensive teams in the league, they're going to be a big playoff problem. It's like losing to your rival but knowing you've got their number the next time you see them. The Fever aren't done yet. But here's the real kicker. Caitlin Clark and this Fever squad are secretly on a mission. Let's call it the Olympic Snub Revenge Tour. And it's personal. Clark is building the pro version of her Iowa Hawkeyes squad, but this time, she's got some serious help. Hull, Boston, Mitchell, they're all in. And the league better be ready because by the time the other teams catch on, it'll be too late. The underrated stars on this team, like Lexie Hull, are finally getting their shine, and it's blinding the league. Once the fog clears for the rest of the WNBA, the Fever could already be in deep playoff territory. No one's talking about these players enough, but trust me, they're making big moves, and everyone's about to find out. It's the usual suspects all over again where you realize Kaiser Soze was pulling the strings the whole time. That's the Fever right now, and the league is finally catching up. So what's the takeaway here? Even in a tough 99-88 loss, the Indiana Fever proved they can compete at the highest level. With Caitlin Clark playing like a seasoned vet with 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, Lexie Hull with 8 points and 9 rebounds locking down on defense, Kelsey Mitchell with 23 points and 4 3-pointers hitting clutch shots, Aaliyah Boston with 20 points and 5 rebounds dominating the paint, and the rest of the squad stepping up. This team is a big problem in the playoffs. They've got the grit, the depth, and the fire to make a deep run. And let's be real. No team wants to see Caitlin Clark in a win-or-go-home scenario. Let me know in the comments. Are the Fever primed for a playoff upset, or do they need a little more time to develop? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Swish Arc for all the WNBA updates. Hit that bell so you never miss a beat. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Keep ballin'.